more wins. 2 more wins. And the Indiana Fever is headed to the WNBA Finals. Let that sink in for a second. The Indiana Fever only need to win 2 more games, and they will be in the WNBA Finals. And they stole the first of 3 today against the Las Vegas Aces, beating them 89-73. A very convincing.
The WNBA is in full-on panic mode right now. The Indiana Fever are just 2 victories away from punching their ticket to the finals, and absolutely no one saw this coming. The league's biggest underdog stormed into Las Vegas, put the Aces in their place, and walked out with a statement that shook the entire league. Suddenly, that so-called dynasty doesn't look so untouchable anymore.
We're at the Aces in Las Vegas on their home court with their home referees. The Indiana Fever pulled off this victory, and I feel like I'm one of the only people, or at least aside from the mainstream media, who truly thinks that the Indiana Fever can pull this off. Do you remember a couple days ago on ESPN, they were saying like the chances that the teams had to make it to the finals or to win a championship, and it was 5 teams: Lynx, the Aces, Mercury, the Liberty, and the Indiana Fever. And they had the Indiana Fever as the lowest chances of winning the WNBA.
Do you really believe the Fever can finish this? Think about it. Just 2 wins. That's all that separates them from the WNBA Finals. 2 more victories and a team everyone counted out is suddenly rewriting the story of the season. This is the same franchise every analyst buried. The same squad sportsbooks gave 0 chance of chasing a championship. For years, they've been the league's punchline, until now. Because in Las Vegas, on the Aces' own floor, Indiana didn't just win, they dismantled them. Final score, 89-73. That's not a fluke. That's a 16-point demolition. And it happened in the Aces arena with their own referees on the whistle. The Fever didn't scrape by, they dictated the entire game, exposing cracks in a dynasty everyone thought was unbreakable. This wasn't just a win, it was a warning shot, and now the panic is real.
Good. I mean, you know, our group has seen it all. You know, we wanted to come in and be the aggressor right away, to make sure that we were dictating on the defensive end, and we were dictating from a pace standpoint. You know, they're champions for a reason. We knew that they were going to make runs. They made a big one in the 3rd, and we responded with a big one. I'm proud of our team. It's one game, it's a long series, so you know we got to keep the main thing. But to come in here and to be able to steal this one was big for us.
Remember all the talk before this series started? Every major outlet, ESPN included, already had the Aces and Liberty locked in as the inevitable finals matchup. Minnesota was given some respect. Even Phoenix's chances were entertained. But Indiana, they were brushed off as the fun story. The team that should just be grateful to show up. 0 expectations, 0 chance. And yet, look at the scoreboard. Numbers don't lie. The Fever just stole the toughest game of the entire series. Game 1. On the road.
Ability to handle a game where Asia is not able to like dominate. Where would you guys rank your level of concern surrounding that, and how do you guys kind of fix that?
It's not necessarily my level of concern. I know we're capable, but not when we play like that. You know, God forbid Asia doesn't drop 40 for us. But we had 12 assists tonight in 40 minutes. 12. And 12 turnovers. But you can start on the defensive end. I mean, clearly we had no answer for Mitchell. Couldn't even attempt to slow her down a little bit.
The Aces' entire identity revolves around Aja Wilson. She's their anchor, their insurance policy, their everything. So what happens when Wilson gets thrown off her game? Total chaos, and that's exactly what unfolded. Yes, she finished with 16 points and 13 boards, but the numbers don't tell the whole story. She shot a miserable 27% from the field, racked up 4 quick fouls, and spent long stretches stuck on the bench. Indiana's defense made her uncomfortable all night, forcing bad shots and disrupting her rhythm. And here's where it gets brutal. When Wilson sat with her 4th foul, the Aces trailed by just 3. By the time she returned, that deficit had ballooned to 14. A lightning fast 11-0 Fever run, all triggered by her absence. If the so-called juggernaut collapses the second one player sits, are they really a juggernaut, or are they just the Las Vegas Aces? Meanwhile, Indiana looked every bit like a complete team. Kelsey Mitchell, criminally underrated for years, exploded for 34 points and was a pleasant 20 on the floor. She torched Vegas from deep, blew past defenders at the rim, and flat out embarrassed every matchup Becky Hammon threw at her. The Aces perimeter defense was so weak, it might as well have been 5 random fans trying to check her. But Mitchell wasn't doing it alone. Odyssey Sims, signed only back in August, played like a seasoned floor general. She dropped 17 points, kept the offense calm under pressure, and also finished a plus 20. She set the pace, led huddles, and hit big shots when they mattered most. Exactly the kind of steady presence Indiana needs as Caitlin Clark gears up for her second playoff run. Sims doesn't panic, she doesn't force shots, she just keeps the Fever locked in. And then of course there was Aaliyah Boston. On paper, Aaliyah Boston didn't light it up, just 6 points. But her defensive work on Aja Wilson was a masterclass. She stayed disciplined, kept her body in front, contested everything, and forced Wilson into tough fadeaways instead of easy looks at the rim. And when Boston rested, Queen Wnba stepped in and brought that same relentless energy. She might not have Boston's size or strength, but she battled Wilson on every possession, making her grind for every single bucket. That relentlessness wasn't just an individual effort, it defined Indiana's entire approach. Take Lexi Hull for example. She scored only 6 points, yet finished with a game-high plus 24. Why? Because she did all the things Vegas refuses to do, locking down on defense, cutting off passing lanes, diving for loose balls, and making smart, unselfish plays. Her value isn't measured by points, it's measured by the fact that whenever she was on the floor, Indiana looked unbeatable. This game also exposed a glaring truth. The Aces simply can't survive when Wilson isn't bailing them out. Jackie Young chipped in 19, Chelsea Gray had flashes, but strip Wilson out of the equation and Vegas falls apart. Their bench produces nothing, their defensive rotations collapse, their chemistry disappears. Indiana revealed all of it. And let's be real about the officiating too. Wilson usually benefits from star treatment, but the Fever never shied away from bodying her up. Boston risked foul trouble, Wnba attacked angles, and Indiana forced the refs to let physical defense play out. Wilson was left inefficient, uncomfortable, and frustrated. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Indiana thrives on team basketball, moving the ball, defending as a unit, and trusting whoever's hot. Vegas, they live and die by Wilson, and if she's not dominating, they look lost. That's not a formula built to last in a 5-game series. And then there's Indiana's surprise weapon, the full court press. It's something they've rarely shown this season, but against Vegas, it was devastating. Wnba harassing the inbound, guards pressuring ball handlers, early traps disrupting everything. It completely threw the Aces off rhythm and exposed just how shaky their guard play really is. Outside of Chelsea Gray, Vegas has no elite ball handlers, and Indiana made them pay. Jackie Young and Kia. Stokes looked completely shaken, and Indiana's relentless pressure turned their mistakes into easy transition points. And once again, Odyssey Sims deserves credit, not only for putting points on the board, but for how she leads. Brought in just a few months ago, she's already taken on the role of a steady veteran presence. She controls the tempo, makes smart reads, and keeps the Fever poised whenever Vegas tries to swing momentum. For someone who wasn't even expected to be here, she's now become absolutely indispensable. If Indiana locks her up for the future, it could end up being one of the franchise's smartest moves. What makes this team so dangerous is their resilience. Natasha Howard came out strong in the first half but went quiet after halftime, yet others stepped up. Aerial power struggled, but the team adjusted. Maya Caldwell delivered key moments. That's real depth. When one player slips, another fills the gap. Vegas can't say the same. Make no mistake, this wasn't luck. This was a blueprint. Hold Aja Wilson under 20, stay disciplined defensively, and attack with confidence on offense. Indiana executed it perfectly, and the result speaks for itself. That's why the entire league is starting to panic. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. The Fever weren't supposed to be in this position. Just a year ago, Caitlin Clark was a rookie finding her footing. Aaliyah Boston was still learning how to impose her will against veteran bigs. And Kelsey Mitchell was brushed off as a stat patter on losing teams. Fast forward, and here they are, 2 wins away from the finals. What changed? Everything. Coaching, depth, mindset, and yes, Clark's growth in her second year. Even sidelined, her presence alone has reshaped the culture. Every opponent prepares for her, whether she's on the court or not. That opens the door for Mitchell, Sims, and Boston to shine at the highest level. Caitlin Clark's value has never been just about her scoring. It's about the pressure she puts on defenses. Teams have to stretch, overextend, and change their game plan just because she's on the roster. And that fear doesn't disappear just because she's sidelined this series. Now compare that to the Aces. They're loaded with talent, but also painfully predictable. Everything runs through A'ja Wilson. Shut her down, and suddenly Jackie Young is forcing bad looks. Chelsea Gray is overburdened, and Becky Hammond is staring at her bench with no spark plug to turn to. Vegas used to have depth. That's gone now, and it showed. Meanwhile, Indiana has quietly assembled one of the most balanced rotations in the league. Odyssey Sims gives them composure at point guard. Kelsey Mitchell is a flamethrower who can drop 30 on anyone. Aaliyah Boston anchors the defense. Lexi Hull is the glue piece. Natasha Howard adds veteran presence. Aerial Powers is a walking X Factor. And Queen Egbo? She's turned into their hidden weapon. Against elite bigs. That's not just a good lineup, that's a finals ready roster. The numbers back it up. Indiana held Vegas to just 70 points. For context, the Aces averaged over 90 in the regular season. Cutting nearly 20 points off that average isn't random, it's domination. This wasn't Vegas having an off night. This was Indiana playing elite defense. They contested jumpers, cut off driving lanes, and disrupted the Aces' rhythm from start to finish. Wilson had no space to operate, thanks to Boston and Egbo, and Indiana's guards made life miserable by denying entry passes. And while the defense suffocated Vegas, the Fever's offense flowed with balance. Mitchell's 34 points were the headline, but it wasn't a solo act. Sims added 17. Howard provided a lift in the first half. Hull made clutch, gritty plays that don't always hit the box score. Even with Boston scoring only 6, her presence forced Vegas to adjust every possession. That's the definition of true team basketball. And right on cue, the media is scrambling for excuses. A'ja just had an off night. Vegas missed easy shots. It won't happen again, but let's be real, this wasn't luck. Indiana exposed cracks in the defending champs that can't be brushed off. Wilson can't carry the Aces every single night, and the Fever know it. You don't walk into the home of a two-time champion and win by 16 by accident. That's not fortune, that's a warning. And here's what makes it terrifying for the league. Indiana only needs 2 more wins. This is a best of 5. They've already stolen one in Vegas. If they take game 2, you can almost call it. No one is beating the Fever 3 straight times, not when 2 of those games would be in Indiana. The panic isn't just real, it's spreading fast, and even the league offices feel it. Remember, ESPN and every so-called expert gave Indiana the lowest odds of any semifinal team. Too young, too raw, not enough depth. That narrative just went up in flames. 2 wins away, and the Fever have flipped the script entirely. The disrespect only fuels them, and the dream finals matchup of Aces versus Liberty, hanging on by a thread. It's not just talent, it's mentality. The Aces crumbled the moment things didn't break their way. Frustrated, flat, defeated. Indiana locked in. Every time Vegas made a push, the Fever answered right back. No panic, no folding, no happy to be here vibes. They looked like a team that expects to win. That's the difference. Look at the fourth quarter. Indiana led by 16, Vegas cut it to 10, and momentum felt like it might flip. In past years, the Fever would have folded. Not this squad. They tightened up, executed, and slammed the door shut. That's maturity, that's growth, that's a finals caliber team. And once again, Odyssey Sims deserves the spotlight. Signed in August and already one of the most vital pieces on the roster. Her poise, her tempo, control, her leadership. It's exactly what this team was missing. If she's this impactful after weeks, imagine her with a full season. Indiana should be locking her in long term, no question. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell has forced the league to finally respect her. For years, she was brushed off as good stats, bad team. Now, she's torching the defending champs with 30-point playoff masterpieces. She's no longer just a scorer, she's the engine. And with Caitlin Clark in her second year pulling defenses apart, Mitchell finally has the freedom to do what she does best: burn anyone who tries to guard her. The irony, the same league that dismissed her for years now has no choice but to admit Kelsey Mitchell has arrived. The Aces were built up as the juggernaut, the team no one could touch. The Fever, just a young squad still piecing it together. But look at what's actually happening. Vegas is being exposed as predictable, while Indiana looks like the team built to own the future. And the fear around the league isn't just about this series, it's about what's coming. If the Fever can reach the finals now, with Caitlin Clark only in year 2 and Aaliyah Boston still scratching the surface of her potential, imagine what they'll be 2 or 3 seasons from now. This isn't a fluke, it's a power shift in real time. The league's blueprint was simple: Aces versus Liberty, Aja Wilson versus Brianna Stewart, super teams driving the headlines. Indiana just ripped that entire storyline apart, and honestly, it's perfect. The Fever brings something Vegas can't fake: resilience. Injuries, constant lineup changes, being dismissed before the season even began, none of it slowed them down. No matter who was available, every version of this team found ways to compete. That's why they're so dangerous. Excuses don't exist in Indiana, they just hoop. And the energy, night and day. The Fever fly around the court like it's life or death, pressing, running, battling for every loose ball. Vegas, meanwhile, looked drained, passive, like the fight wasn't even there. You can't coach that hunger. Indiana has it in spades. Vegas doesn't. So now the spotlight shifts. Can the Fever close this out? 2 wins. That's all they need. Take 1 more in Vegas or seal the deal at home. Either way, the defending champs are facing elimination way earlier than anyone expected. And if Indiana does finish it, yes, people will call it one of the biggest playoff upsets ever. But for those actually watching, it won't feel like an upset at all, because the Fever aren't scraping by. They're outplaying, outworking, and outthinking the so-called dynasty. The truth: Indiana doesn't look like underdogs anymore. They look like the better team. And that's the nightmare scenario for the league. 2 more wins separate the Fever from completely flipping the WNBA upside down. The rebuilding project is already kicking down the door, and the Aces are the ones feeling the pressure.